All righty, it just turned 5 o'clock, so we're going to get started. Tonight we have Shaddam Bashir with the Islam faith to give our invocation, and he was telling us that his name means happy God. We're ready for you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yes, you're pretty close. It's Shadman Bashir. It's always a problem when people have to pronounce my name. So when I was new, I used to tell them, just call me Susan. That makes you, that will make you happy. Because they would ask me, do you have an American name? I was like, Susan. That will work out. So I'm sorry I didn't prepare a long prayer. But it might take like 10 seconds. I'm very thankful to being here. My wife just became a U.S. citizen here last month. So I love this place. Thank you very much. Thank you. So I'm very happy. I'm very happy to be here. This is an amazing place. I hope the rental property values come a little bit down. That will be better. So I'll just do my prayers and then I'll run off and let you guys do the more important stuff. So I'll do the prayer in Arabic, the first part of it, when we praise God. That is Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. O Allah, give water to your slaves and your livestock, and spread your mercy and revive your dead land. O Allah, shower upon us abundant rain, beneficial, not harmful, swiftly and not delayed. Thank you very much. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. We definitely need the rain.
And thank you for being respectful of our time. And even though you said it's not important, that was probably one of the most important parts of the meeting is our supplication to God. So thank you.
Bardell, will you please lead us in the pledge?
We all please rise and join me in the pledge allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have a couple of pre-agenda items. The first one, we have a proclamation I asked Jimmy to read, so if Jimmy can go ahead and read that proclamation for us.
This is good for me because I'm the definition of an amateur. This proclamation, whereas amateur radio operators are celebrating over a century of the miracle of the human voice broadcast over the airwaves, and whereas amateur radio has continued to provide a bridge between people, societies, and countries by creating friendships and sharing of ideas. And whereas amateur radio operators have also provided countless hours of community service, both in emergencies and to other local organizations throughout these decades. And whereas amateur radio services are provided wholly uncompensated. And whereas the City of St. George also recognizes the services amateur radio operators provide to Washington County. And whereas these same individuals have further demonstrated their value in public assistance by providing free radio communications for many events in the city, including over 25 years of communications to the St. George Marathon. And whereas the Amateur Radio Relay League is the leading organization for amateur radio in the USA, and the Dixie Amateur Radio Club is a supporting member of the ARRL. And whereas the ARRL, Amateur Radio Field Day Exercise, will take place on June 26th through the 27th, 2021, and is a 24-hour emergency preparedness exercise and demonstration of the radio amateurs' skills and readiness to provide self-supporting communications without further infrastructure being required. And whereas has participated in the field day exercise continuously since 1985, and invite the public to join them at the field day site, this year located at the Dixie ATC Emergency Response Training Center. Now, therefore, Michelle Randall Mayer, along with the City Council of the City of St. George, Utah, do hereby proclaim June 21st through the 27th, 2021 as Amateur Radio Week.
Do we have someone here to... Yes.
Madam Mayor, City Council, pardon the hardware. My name is Rick Weyman. I'm a past president, 4 times past president of the Dixie Amateur Radio Club, and in charge of this year's field day activity. We would like to invite all of you, plus all of the public, to come up and see us and to enjoy the camaraderie that we provide as amateur radio operators. It's an excellent hobby. I've been involved myself since 1982. And yes, I was involved in the field day here in 1985. So I've been doing this for 36 years continuous. It's quite wild. So please come up and join us. I have letters for each of you inviting you to come up. So I hope you come to see us. And Mayor, thank you very much for this honor.
You're welcome. I'm going to come and present this to you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Do you want a picture with the
Yes, please.
proclamation? Well, the proclamation
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
I'll
if
get-
you can give those letters to Christina, she'll just pass it to her.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have a presentation from the Elks. Dick Wilson and Sharon Getzman are here. If they want to just come forward and make that presentation, that'd be great.
Good afternoon. I'm Sharon Getzman, and this is Dick Wilson from the St. George Dixie Elks Lodge. Dick is our Veterans Coordinator, and I am the Exalted Ruler for the Lodge. We would like to present to you a $2,000 donation to the Gold Star Families Memorial Monument from the Dixie Lodge.
Awesome. Thank you so very, very much. Brian, you want to go down with me to get that check? There you go. This is awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Our pleasure.
We are getting so close to our goal on the Gold Star Families Memorial Monument, and every little bit helps, and so thank you so very much. It's ordered, the down payment is delivered, and so hopefully the unveiling takes place on November 10th. So we'll invite anybody to come out and see the unveiling. Thank you so very much. Okay, one more pre-agenda item, and then we'll get started with our agenda. I have a statement to read on water. I'm sure by now that everyone knows the state of Utah as a whole, as well as the city of St. George, is in a drought condition. In fact, all of Washington County is in what is called an exceptional drought state, as indicated by drought.gov. The drought begs our immediate attention and requires that everyone work together to formulate solutions that will decrease our water usage. The City of St. George will lead out in this effort of water conservation in our actions directed towards city property. We will also collaborate with the Washington County Water Conservancy District, our residents, and those in the private sector to ask for their input and support as we move forward with much-needed water-saving measures. So what is the city doing? Over the last several years, we have made significant water-saving measures at our city facilities, including removing irrigated turf citywide at golf courses and parks and planting more drought-tolerant plants. It's a good start, and we understand that we can do more, and we will. We have immediate plans to have city parks cut back to watering 3 times per week of all functioning grass and 2 times per week on ornamental, non-functioning grass. This might mean our grass turns yellow. We have to get used to that. Also, all ornamental water features should be turned off, which include water features and waterfalls. The exception right now being splash pads located at various city parks. We will leave those on. They recirculate their water. It should be noted that we use secondary water to irrigate our golf courses, cemeteries, and most of our city parks. Secondary water is also used at Dixie State University, as well as several school facilities in the Washington County School District. This is used water that would otherwise be sent south along the Virgin River. Our long-term goal is to convert all outdoor irrigation to secondary water. It will take us time and additional infrastructure to achieve this goal. The city may also consider and act on restrictions that would save significant sums of water. This may include limiting water use of non-commercial car washes, which means street washing or driveway washing would not be allowed. Require that all residential and commercial landscaped areas be irrigated no more than 3 times per week. Postpone installation of sod turf for all landscaping until after September. Adopt a landscape ordinance limiting the amount of turf sod allowable in new development. Revise any ordinance that requires turf sod. We have those on the books, if you can believe it. Adopt ordinances that limit all HOAs from requiring turf sod as part of landscaping of a property. You might be asking yourself, as a resident of St. George, what can I do? There are many actions you can take. Use less water on our lawns. Allow them to turn yellow. Put the hose aside and use a broom to clean paved surfaces such as your driveway or walkway. Use a pool cover. Shorten your shower. Plant a landscape that thrives in our desert climate and only water between the hours of 8 p.m. and 8 a.m. as directed by city ordinance. This isn't a time to panic or point fingers. What it is a time to work together and find solutions. Since the city of St. George was founded in January of 1862, we have been known for having a barn-raising mentality. We can make significant gains to help us conserve water during this time of drought. And by being proactive, we can continue to maintain the high quality of life that we enjoy. So now with that being said, I would like to have Scott Taylor, our Water Services Director, tell us about our drought emergency plan.
Thank you, Mayor. So several years ago, in 2001, the city adopted a drought management plan and a water shortage plan. And really, I mean, we went into this water year. If you remember last summer, we broke the record of consecutive days without precipitation, and we really haven't had a whole lot since then. We had a very dismal snowpack. So we started, this spring, we started with our reservoirs half full or possibly 2/3 full on some of them, but we started with not a whole lot of water storage and water supply. And things really have not gotten any better since then. So the drought management plan that was adopted in 2001, there's 4 stages to that plan, and those stages are enacted based on some trigger points. And we look at the supply of our water versus our demand, and so there will be trigger points when those stages would be enacted. What we're trying to do is not get to the point where we have to enact those stages. The drought plan, the drought management plan, is really it's a short-term fix for if our water supply does not meet demand for a short period of time. What we're looking at in this drought, it's a long-term problem that we're facing. I don't see that we'll have problem this year delivering water to our customers. What concerns me is next year. We don't know what next year brings. If we have a repeat of this last winter, we're going to be in a world of hurt. the same time next year. So the measures that we're doing right now, that the city is doing, and that we're asking the citizens to do, it's not to fix a short-term problem. We're looking in the future. Every bit of water we can save this year is water that we'll have available next year when we really don't know what the conditions are going to be. So these 4 stages of our drought management plan, they start with stage 1, which is basically a voluntary conservation measures, and they progress to stage 4, which at some point the city would have to allocate the water that's available. We would have mandatory allocations that we would have to decide really who gets what water is available. So the whole point is we don't want to get to having to implement that drought management plan. We want to be good stewards of the water, do what we can. We're asking the citizens to look at the way they're using water and see if there's any way that they can use less water. Evaluate your landscaping. Are there areas that is non-functioning landscape that maybe can be removed and save that water? So anyway, that's kind of a summary of the drought management plan. There's 4 stages, and we don't want to have to enact that plan.
Thanks, Scott. I think that helps, and we all need to get back to the catchphrase that we heard years ago. Which governor enacted it? Was it Levitt even, I think, maybe? Slow the flow, save H2O.
Yep.
We just all need to realize we're there, and we've got to conserve to get us years down the road. So,
and not knowing what the future holds for us, like I said, this is not a short-term fix; it's a long-term fix, and it's going to require a change of mentality. It's going to a change of behavior. We're going to have to just focus on being conscientious of the water that we use and find ways of using it more efficiently.
Council, any questions for Scott or any comments you'd like to make? Thank you. Adam, any changes to the agenda?
No changes, but I would note that item number, let's get to the right one. Item number 5 has been reworded, and we put that on an amended agenda. So when we get to item number 5, we're going to do that by ordinance instead of how it was originally noticed. So we'll make that clarification when we get there. Otherwise, that would take us to our consent calendar. We've got a number of items there. If you'd like to review any of those individually, we're happy to do that. Staff recommends approval.
I looked through them and I felt good about it. I'm willing to make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Danielle, seconded by Jimmy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 2 is a public hearing and a resolution to review and approve amendments to the current fiscal year, that's fiscal year 21 budget. And Deanna Berklasic, our budget manager, is going to review those with us.
Hi, Mayor and Council. Good evening. So the budget amendments are in your packet, and you'll see those. Let's see. There's about 28 of them in total. I won't go over all of them, but I will go over a few and hit some of the highlights, just so that I don't throw you a curveball like I did last time. Apologize for that. Anyway, so I will list the number that I'm going to highlight, and then I'll just give you a little bit of background on that. And if there's any other numbers that you have questions on, I'm here to answer any of those questions. So again, this is for the for the fiscal year 2021 budget. We have to have all our adjustments completed before June 30th by state law. So this is our final packet. Number 1 is to increase the parks improvements budget by $29,000. That was due to the Paint Your Courts fundraiser pickleball event, and this will allow us to paint an additional 6 to 10 pickleball courts at the Little Valley facility. So it leverages our money, basically doubles the money that we had budgeted for that project for this fiscal year. I will talk about number 3. This is for the fire department. It's for $265,000 to purchase the personal protective equipment, a second set, of equipment for our firefighters, and this was made available through grants through the CDBG fund. And as you'll recall, we did have that in the fiscal year 2022 budget as a request, but we were able, our CDBG planner, Jenna, was able to find a way for us to fund it this year. So we're doing a budget opening for that. I will skip down to budget opening number 6, just based upon the amount to explain to you what's going on there. We're basically unwinding a budget opening that we did in October for the state homeless grant. We will still get the grant. However, we had anticipated increasing our cost for that, but we're actually we're able to reimburse ourselves for some costs that were already in the budget. So we're basically unwinding a budget opening. It's more of a housekeeping item, but I'm just drawing your attention to that because of the amounts. I'll skip down to item number 8, based upon the amount, and that's for the Southgate Clubhouse renovation that we were able to attend the grand opening open house today. It's a beautiful facility, but it did come in over budget by $100,000. And I've listed the reasons there, basically some change orders for soil, plumbing, electrical, flooring, sewer, fire suppression, furnishings and equipment. So just some items that weren't contemplated in the original budget, or which we had to expand the scope of work for. I will go down to, let's see, items 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 are all related to our golf courses, and basically related to increased activity and therefore increased fees or increased costs, such as sales of goods or credit card fees that we pay in order to take the credit cards. And I will skip to item number 16 from that point. This is a year-end journal entry that we typically do where we true up what we budgeted and where we think our final revenues and some expenditures will come in. And the majority of that is revenues. As you'll recall, we significantly reduced our fiscal year 2021 budget and the revenues that we thought we would get because we thought we would be heavily impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic as far as our revenues. And we did see some impacts. Fortunately, some of the other things that we saw was actually contrary to what we thought, and that would be sales tax came in quite a bit higher than we budgeted. And that figure there is on the right-hand side. There's a lot of numbers there, and those are basically increasing a lot of our revenues, such as property tax, business license fees, sales tax revenues, building permit, Class C road allotment, because we had drastically cut those in the budget where we estimated that at. And this enables us, the combined budget opening enables us to potentially transfer that money into future projects in the following years. So in fiscal year 2022, and moving forward on that one. Number 17, so that takes us through the general fund. Number 17 is for the 400 East large storm drain repairs. We had already awarded that project, and then we had a large sinkhole up here, so we did a change order, emergency change order. This is just ratifying that change order. It's for $313,000. And number 18 is for the Four Master Drive. That project was slated for fiscal year 2022, 2023. After we had the August 2020 floods, there's a lot of dates thrown out, right? After we had those floods, UDOT was able to escalate their project to this current year, and the city's match is shown there at $133,504. I will jump down to item number 22 because of the amount, and essentially what that is recognizing an in-kind contribution for our property sale to Tech Ridge of city-owned property. So essentially they've created all the infrastructure improvements that we would have normally improved as the developer, and based upon that, we're giving them an in-kind amount instead of them paying us for the land. So that's what the $6,167,070 is basically recognizing that, and then there's all these accounting numbers to reconcile that between all of our funds, but the gist of it is that first amount listed. I will move on from there to item number 26, and this is for the America Rescue Plan, the federal grants that we received our first tranche of funds in this current fiscal year. And the budget opening is for $8 million, and we actually received $7,977,000, and overall we'll receive another approximately $8 million in fiscal year 2022. So, but this is just recognizing what we'll receive or what we actually received this year. So we've got to do a budget opening to recognize that. And that brings us to the end, and I know I skipped over a few. So are there any that you would have additional questions on of me?
Council, questions for Dee?
Okay. And so this is a public hearing, and I'll just sit down and wait.
Where this is a public hearing, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing for anyone who came to comment on the approved the amendments to the fiscal year 2020-21 budget. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Council, if you don't have any questions, I'm ready for motion.
Mayor, I'd make a motion that we approve item 2, the resolution amendments to fiscal year 2020-2021 budget.
Second.
Motion by Vardell, seconded by Brian. All in favor, starting with Vardell.
Aye.
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 Motion carries.
Okay. So the next item is to approve the final budget for fiscal year 2021-2022. And this will be the second public hearing that we have for the fiscal year 2022 budget. The state law only requires us to have one, and we did have one on June 3rd, as you'll remember. And then, so this is the second one. I'll just give you a quick highlight. We have had a few meetings with council on the budget, and then I will cover, I've given you all a list. Let me see if I find it here. I've given you a list that talks about some adjustments that we would like your consideration to incorporate in the final budget. So that would be part of your motion, is to include these adjustments if you do find them that they warrant including in the budget. So right now, the total combined fiscal year 2022 budget is $415,321,142. And it represents a $110 million increase from our fiscal year 2021 budget. As far as the general fund, it is for $91,442,597, and that is a $21 million increase from our fiscal year 2021 budget. And as you'll recall, a lot of the reason for that increase is capital projects. We do have some new employees or several new employees included in the budget. However, our personnel basically is trending fairly level. Our operating supplies are fairly level, but there's about $110 million that is just in capital projects that increased that budget by quite a bit. We do have a handful of fee increases that we're asking for that, and that would be the next item on the agenda, and Chad can cover that, but we've covered all of those fee increases. I do want to point out that we are not asking for a property tax increase, and we have, since the recommended budget was presented to you, we have received our certified tax rate information from the county, and I'm happy to say that we actually will have a decrease in our rate of 10.31%, but I do want to make sure that we all understand that a decrease just means that because our property values have gone up, the rate has adjusted down to keep us revenue neutral. So last year, or this current year, fiscal year 2021, our property tax revenues generated $10.5 million. As values have gone up, the rates have come down so that next year our property taxes will again generate $10.5 million. And then on top of that, we get new growth, and that's estimated at $500,000. So our citizens should not see an increase in their tax bill for the St. George City levy at all. I just wanted to point that out. And so let me step into the list of items that we'd like you to consider. And some of them are timing issues where we thought they were going to get the project done in this current fiscal year, but we've since heard that we're going to have to carry some monies over. So the item number 1 is for the fire department, an ambulance feasibility study, which is currently underway. However, it will overlap into fiscal year 2022, and we're asking for $4,500 to overlap. The second item is to hire a part-time purchasing specialist for the administrative services department, and that amount is $28,842. We were actually able to eliminate a full-time position, purchasing specialist, and we've since done an evaluation of that and feel like we just need to bring that position back at a part-time level just to make sure we can cover all of our needs. The police department, we're carrying over 8 vehicles that were approved in fiscal year 2021. And what happened there is, as we've probably all heard, they're ready on the assembly line and they're just waiting for those computer chips. So we're not able to get them here this year. That's going to carry over $410,000. And item number 4 is community development for business licensing software in the amount of $20,000. That project's been delayed, so we're just moving that forward. Human resources, we reevaluated their travel and training budget and feel like we need to increase that one by $5,000. The city manager budget, due to the reorganization, we have 2 new assistant city manager positions that will take some additional training and memberships, and that's $5,900. Item number 7 is a citywide sick leave conversion to cash program that we had previously prior to COVID, and when COVID surfaced, we canceled this as a budget cut to reduce our expenditures, and we now feel like we can bring that back. Item number 8 is for the community development department, and as we talked about in our work meetings, is a new code enforcement officer, which is basically, we had 2, we had cut down to 1, so it's bringing it back to 2. And that's item number 9, facility services. They're going to have to rent their hangar for a little bit longer for their facility services department, and so that's $54,000. And then streets, this is actually an increase in the revenue amounts. We're proposing that we increase our per vehicle charge. Right now it's $3, and we would increase that to $5 per load, and then increase our load charges per ton and per vehicle for bringing in concrete and asphalt and uncovered loads. And that will raise an additional $340,000 in revenue on estimate. Those are the changes to the general fund. For the non-general fund budgets, CDBG increasing both the revenues and expenses by $65,478, and that's basically a reconciliation of some items between fiscal year 21 and 2022. And then items 2, 3, and 4 all go together, and 5, excuse me. And essentially, we had budgeted for the Curly Hollow Park project $2,340,000, and that was not, with that we were not able to include all the amenities that we were hoping to see in phase one. They would have been delayed until fiscal year 2023. It makes more sense from a construction standpoint and economies of scale to pull that in and do all the project in 2022. So in order to do that, we increased the budget there to $4 million, and that's item number 4. But we are going to reduce our land purchases by $400,000. We're going to reverse defund the Santa Clara River Trail Connection project by $654,000. And then we feel like we can increase the revenues by $606, all in order to make that happen for Curly Hollow and increase that by up to $4 million. And item number 6 is subsequent to the recommended budget, we've heard that we will receive a federal grant in the amount of $5 million towards Southern Parkway Exit 5 towards the bridge. And that doesn't include the surrounding roadways, but that does get us the bridge. And then we have the city's match of $1,250,000 that we'll use transportation improvement funds in order to make up the city's match. So, in a nutshell, what that does is that takes our total budget from $415 million recommended to a new total of $423 million approximately. I can give you those exact numbers, but I'm sure you're tired of all the numbers here. I will mention that if any of our citizens have any questions regarding our budget, it has been on our city website. We do have 30 days by state law to update the recommended budget to the final budget, and we usually need that time to make sure all the numbers match up just where they need to go. But our recommended budget's still going to stay on our website if anyone wants to look at it. We also have a little card here that we've put where the agendas are, if our citizens want to grab that card and kind of see a snapshot of where our money's going for the next year's budget. So with that said, I'll step aside.
Thanks, Dee. So this is a public hearing. I'll open the public hearing for anyone who has come to comment on the fiscal year budget of 2021-2022. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Come back to you, council.
I make a motion to approve the resolution to formally adopt the final fiscal year 2021-22 budget with the adjustments to this final budget.
Second.
Motion by Brian, seconded by Jimmy. All in favor, starting with Danielle.
Aye.
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 Motion carries.
Mayor, can I make a comment? Just the defund, the Santa Clara River Trail connection, just for anyone who was planning on that or excited about that. I mean, I think that will still happen in the future. It just will be further in the future, and there are land acquisition issues along there, so someday we'll get that trail done. Thanks. Chad?
Just a comment as you're coming forward. I know that when Dee was talking specifically about property taxes and that with home value appreciation that would be revenue neutral. And I think in her original correspondence with us, she said it was like 5 years in a row, and I mentioned that's really amazing. And then Adam pointed out it's more like 11 years now that we've been able to keep property taxes. When I say we, I mean home value appreciation has been able to do that for us, but I think that's quite remarkable.
Okay, evening, Mayor and Council. So this is just going over the master fee schedule that we have. Each year the city reviews the fees that we have for the services that we provide and just assess whether we need to increase those fees to cover our cost. And so these fees would be effective July 1st, 2021. Staff does recommend approval. And I can just highlight a few of those for you if you'd like. The Golf is increasing their 9-hole on rack rate and loyalty card rate for $1, $1 increase. And then they're eliminating the shoulder rates, and the summer monthly passes have increased to $125 for 3 courses and $175 for 4 courses. And then, as Dee mentioned, the reuse center is having an increase in a few fees there. Uncovered load is $10, and then commercial and residential dumping is $5 and $10. Airport also has a few increases there. Energy, they're increasing the residential base rate by $1, and this is the 3rd year of 5 years. And also a 1 cent increase to Tier 2 residential rate. And water is increasing the 10 cents per 1,000 gallons. And this is again is a multi-year increase. And then recreation, we've made resident and non-resident fees associated with some of those services. And then the outdoor and the shack have a new lap lane reservation fee of $15 and $25 respectively. Is there any questions, or do you want me to review any other fees?
Questions for Chad?
I'd just like to make a comment that even on our golf course, $1 per 9 holes, 2 for 18, is still way less than what you pay anywhere else in the state. And our courses are in phenomenal shape for what we've had to work with this last year in the water, and I think they've done a great job. So this is a needed increase to help man the courses, but it's a very minimal one, so I appreciate it.
It is.
Councilmember Smethurst, I would add, today we got to celebrate with an open house the new Southgate Clubhouse. It looks beautiful. These increased fees, they are very modest, but that's what enables us to do this. We did Dixie Red Hills last year, got Southgate done this year, long overdue, and of course, probably the one that needs it the most, St. George Golf Course Clubhouse. That's in this upcoming budget year.
We're excited. Great job.
So we're really trying to put that additional dollar to work to benefit our golfing community. I think they'll be happy.
If I understand correctly, you don't have to golf to eat there, right? If you live in that
That's
neighborhood?
right.
Okay.
Hey, they said they were going to have big breakfasts on Saturday and Sunday morning, so it turned out really nice. If there's no questions or comments for Chad, I'm ready for a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve adopting fees for the various services and recreational activities.
Second.
Motion by Brian, seconded by Vardell. All in favor, starting with Vardell.
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries.
Council, for item number 5, we're going to have Shane come up to the microphone for this one, but I would direct you to the corrected and amended agenda, noting that this is to consider approval of an ordinance to distribute the RAP tax art component for the upcoming fiscal year, as recommended by the Arts Commission.
You
Hi,
look
Mayor,
so
Council.
excited.
Yeah. Our community arts manager, Emily Reed, is actually going to do the presentation.
Emily, I tried to bail you out, but you see what happened.
I appreciate that, Adam. Thank you. I know you're tired of hearing numbers, but I just wanted to throw a few more at you. Over the last 5 years of RAP tax grants being awarded to arts and cultural organizations in St. George, we've distributed $1,316,500 to over 50 organizations, allowing opportunities ranging from historic preservation efforts to puppet shows all across the city of St. George. So we're really thankful for these opportunities. Today we have 31 organizations who applied for funding. Their funding request totaled $512,329, and the Arts Commission recommends $250,000 to be distributed. And so I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
Council, any questions on Danielle? I know you played an integral role in figuring out where all these funds were going to go to and which groups and.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on how much I appreciate the Art Commission. You know, this is challenging. We of course, we all love the art. We want to give every organization everything they possibly couldn't need, all the help that they need, and we can't do quite that. And so we do our best and try to look at their budget needs and to be balanced and fair. And I feel like the Arts Commission does an excellent job. I mean, we got sent a lot of homework to really study and really read a ton about these organizations so that we fully understood what they're doing and how they're budgeting. And it's impressive how so many of these organizations, you know, they start out with really small budgets, and a lot of them over the years have been able to slowly, you know, stand on their own feet as they get known in the community, and they're able to, you know, increase their program budgets. And so I feel like our Art Commission just deserves a lot of praise for all the work they've done for this. And also Emily, she really, really did a lot of organizing this year. We're super blessed to have her. I can't tell you how grateful I am that, you guys might not know this, but we hired her, and then COVID came, and then her position just sat for what, Emily, 10 months? Something like that. And then when it came back open, we were afraid that she was gone because she was such an excellent candidate, and we were able to find her out there in the ether and pull her back in. So super grateful we were able to hire her.
Thanks, Danielle. Anybody have any questions regarding the RAP tax, where it's going? If not, I'm ready for a motion.
I'll make a motion, Mayor, to approve an ordinance distributing the RAP tax art component grant distribution for the fiscal year 2021-2022 as recommended by the St. George Arts Commission.
Second.
Motion by Danielle, seconded by Brian. I forgot your name for a minute. It's been a long day. All in favor, starting with Vardell.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
This next item, I'm kind of filling in for Wes, so you don't get that entertainment with Wes here. Sorry about that. But this next item is for a resolution for a boundary line adjustment. It's just right over by Crimson Cliffs High School. It's really just a cleanup item. Once the high school went in, the roads went in, we just need to adjust the boundary a little bit to follow the roadway so that we can have all the frontage of the development be in one city and that's part of St. George and not have to be in two different cities.
Thanks, Cameron. This was pretty straightforward. Does anybody have any questions on it? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion, Mayor, that we approve a resolution declaring the intent of the City of St. George to consider adjusting a common municipal boundary line with Washington City.
Second.
Motion by Vardell, seconded by Danielle. All in favor, starting with Danielle.
Aye.
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 Motion carries.
Item number 7 is to consider approval of an ordinance changing the zone from M1 manufacturing to C3 general commercial on approximately 3.7 acres located at 1234 Sunset Boulevard, known as J&B Commercial Rezone. This is the property, this is the overall property. Not all of this is being changed. And the reason for the change is actually that it's a split zone. I'll show you that here in just a moment, but you can see Sunset Boulevard, and this is the property again. There are several buildings, one under construction on the property. This is the zoning, and you can see that some of these buildings are split. Actually, 3 of them are split down the middle, M1 zoning. As the applicant was applying for and going through the process of getting their building permit for this building that would be right in this area, we noticed that zoning was out of place, and so they came in with this application to rezone. They are a little concerned that they're about the uses and the loss of use now of the manufacturing zone. So just to clarify, as long as the uses remain in those buildings and don't go away for more than a year, they will be able to continue those uses on the property. There's still some concern from the property owner, if those uses were to go away, if some of those businesses should go away, will they be able to get those back? But that is the request. He was not able to be here. I forwarded you an email from him earlier. So if you have any other questions, I'll be happy to. Oh, Planning Commission did hear this as well and forwarded a positive recommendation.
So Dan, in reference to that letter, if I may,
yeah.
The response to the property owner is that yes, that use can continue as long as it's not.
They can continue as long as it doesn't go for more than a year.
And that's been communicated to the applicant.
Correct. Yes.
Thanks, Dan. Questions or comments for Dan? If not, ready for motion?
I'll make a motion, Mayor, to approve an ordinance changing the zone from M1 to C3 on approximately 3.7 acres located at 1234 Sunset Boulevard, known as JMB Commercial Rezone.
Second.
Motion by Danielle, seconded by Brian. All in favor, starting with Bardell.
Aye.
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 Motion carries.
Okay. Item 8 is to consider approval of an ordinance changing the zone from M2 manufacturing to MC manufacturing commercial on approximately 12.52 acres located at 3287 East Desert Drive, known as Quality Park Mill Creek Industrial Park. So here you can see the property as it stands from an aerial view with the building on it. The general plan designation is industrial. And the current zoning, you can see here to the north of the property, is M1. The property and surrounding properties is M2. The applicant is requesting the MC designation, which is basically manufacturing commercial, and it's kind of a hybrid between, manufacturing and commercial, and it really allows more options for the property owners for different types of uses. And then here is just a street view of the current property. And I don't think the applicant's here, but I can answer any questions if you want.
Does staff recommend approval?
Yes, they do, and Planning Commission did recommend approval.
And did I understand that, so residents won't be coming and going from this space with their RVs? It will be like the business owners go pick up the RVs and deliver them here and then deliver them back out?
That is an option. The property owners can bring them to the facility, but they can't park them or take care of them. They can drop them off, and then the business will take them in and store them and park them.
So Mike, as we look at that picture that's on the screen, there's a piece of infrastructure that we don't see there. We had a little discussion about this in our staff meeting. There's a lack of pedestrian infrastructure in this area, and really all along 3050 East. We discussed whether or not this application would allow the requirement to install sidewalks. It doesn't. And what that means then is the city really, we're going to have to look long term. And we talked about this with Cameron and Public Works and our planners. We're going to have to come up with a project to go back and add pedestrian infrastructure. Originally, I was reminded today in staff meeting that when a lot of this was developed, it was kind of a dead end. Riverside Road had not been connected. And so for whatever reason at that time, we weren't anticipating the pedestrian traffic. But as the area's grown, Riverside Road's been connected, we do see pedestrians out there, and they're oftentimes walking in the landscaping or on the shoulder of the road. And that's something that we're going to have to figure out a way to correct over time. But this application itself would not trigger the installation of sidewalks on the property. But it is something that we're going to be looking at.
Thanks, Adam. Any questions for Mike? Any comments?
Seems like a good use for that space. It's a giant building, so
it's huge.
If there's no other, if you want a motion?
Yep.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the ordinance changing the zone from M2 manufacturing to MC manufacturing commercial on approximately 12.52 acres at 3287 East Desert Drive.
I'll second.
Motion by Jimmy, seconded by Danielle. All in favor, starting with Danielle.
Aye.
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 Motion carries.
This item is for your consideration for an approval of a preliminary plat for the Red Cliffs Temple. And it's really basic, and I could pull up an aerial and show you the location, but it's basically separating out the temple lot so that that's separated from the rest of the property for future development. It's anticipated that they will come in and subdivide those other lots, but it's just a 3-lot preliminary plat subdivision essentially. And it went through Planning Commission and it was recommended for approval there too.
Cameron, has the applicant indicated what type of development would occur? Would we anticipate additional meeting houses, or what would happen in that subdivided
residential
property?
lots? We've seen some preliminary layouts. They're not ready to come in for that the additional subdividing of those residential lots, but they do have some preliminary layouts for roadways and residential homes.
Thank you.
Their goal is to have some homes up when the temple is dedicated.
Pretty straightforward. If anybody would like to make a motion.
Mayor would make that motion that we approve the preliminary plat for the Red Cliffs Utah Temple, 3-lot residential located at the southeast corner of the intersection of 1450 South and 3000 East.
Second.
Motion by Vardell, seconded by Brian. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? I have no appointments to boards or commissions. Any reports from Danielle? Any reports?
Yeah, tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., they're doing another Love Where You Live cleanup sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce. Starting at 8 a.m., it's out on the Southern Parkway off exit 7, the exit that you take to get off to the airport. So anybody who wants to come and help clean up that area, there's been a lot of construction garbage out there since the big winds, and so yeah, any help that they can use.
And today I noticed, Mr. Guzman, have you noticed this on Sunset right before you turn onto Bluff? All the garbage there on the right-hand side, it looked like something exploded there. It's awful.
We've seen a lot of construction debris that's spread around town. A lot of it comes from the back of pickup trucks.
Well, this
and
just
others.
looks like this looks like a Xerox machine blew up. It does. There's just papers everywhere. Have you seen it?
Yep.
Yeah, and I'll go clean it up sometime, but I'm not going to do it when it's 120. But yeah, we need to. It's not a big section, but it is trash right now.
Yeah.
So we need to put that on somebody's radar.
Yeah, and I think the message we're trying to send, or that the organization of Love Where You Live is trying to send, is really to look around. Like if you live in that neighborhood, even if it's not your garbage, if someone accidentally dropped a box of paper in your neighborhood, organize yourselves and be neighborly and go clean it up. That's the best way for us to keep our city clean. And we've always had a really beautiful, really clean city, so it's worth our time.
Maybe at midnight you could wear one of those headlight lamps
and pick everything up.
Pick everything up.
Mayor, I don't know if you noticed coming from Desert Color from the dedication the other day, but the freeway there, and then I went to the hospital dedication in Hurricane the other morning, and the freeway going north, it looks like the Wasatch Front. That's how bad it looks for you people that are watching from the Wasatch Front. But you're down here now, and there's a reason for it, because we look better than that, and it's disappointing. I don't know what we do on that.
The county's hired 2 full-time employees, but I just think there is way too much for 2 employees to tackle. And now that they aren't letting prisoners pick up garbage, it's really affecting us huge. So now it's up to volunteers, basically.
So, and UDOT is organizing cleanups. It's just that it has to be organized through UDOT. So if groups want to go out on I-15, they can go out and clean up. I think you have to be 16 or 18 or older.
You have to be 16 or older.
And it has to be organized by UDOT. So they send out their trucks and put, flashers up and everything. But if groups are interested in cleaning up along I-15, it is an available project.
So is that situation with the county inmates, it seems like that was somewhat COVID related, and I'm wondering, is that ever going to come back? Not the COVID, but the inmates picking up trash?
We hope not COVID. It doesn't sound like it is. It's crazy to me, but, and Sean, maybe you could talk to Eric Clark or the sheriff or something, but what I was told and understood is, we get the state inmates that we bring down and they get money from them. Well, they've all gone back up north, so now we just have our inmates, and they're like, there's a lot of training. Well, no, there's not a lot of training. Danielle and I and Bardell went one morning, and the training was an orange vest and an orange garbage sack, and
stay off the road.
Stay off the road.
Yeah, that we did tell you to stay off the road.
So I just don't understand this training mentality that,
I'll talk to the county and find out. I know there was a reason why they stopped it, and it was not COVID related, because they stopped it long before that. But I also think that we should work with SUBA and talk to them about even construction sites, because when the wind comes, things blow around the neighborhoods, and we get calls from people that have moved in about things blowing in there and debris that comes out. But also, I just talked to them about talking to their subs who are driving around these pickups. I was following one the other day that a box flew out of the back of that truck. And so I think a lot of it's construction related, and we just need to be a little more careful.
Well, today I noticed that because I ran to my parents' house for a minute, and I always have garbage sacks in my car now because there is so much garbage around this town. I'm like, no, it's too hot and I'm in a dress. So you and I will get over there and get it done. But
I'll be
like
glad
I said,
I'll be glad to help you.
It might be midnight when it's a little
you can
cooler.
hold the flashlight and I'll pick it up.
I'll hold the flashlight and I'll watch you do the work.
That's right.
Okay, perfect.
And Mayor, while we're talking about that, could I just say, if you all, just so you all know, we talked about this in staff meeting, but YESCO has agreed to rotate in their digital billboards some PSAs regarding water conservation and conservation of electricity. So we thank them for offering to do that for our community.
Yep.
So I'm sure COVID gets blamed for a lot of things, including inmates not being able to clean up trash on the freeway, but what about at the Dixie Center? Because I know they relied a lot of times on inmate help there, and that one was explained that it was COVID related. Well, are we just no longer able to use that as a resource, the county inmates?
We've been doing all the landscaping there, right, Mark?
As I understand it, the inmates will be coming back to assist with setup.
At the Dixie Center?
At the Dixie Center, yeah.
So they can work indoors, just not out?
I don't know, but I know that they will be coming back, and I'm not sure exactly when, but we count on that. I mean, that helps us out significantly.
I agree.
During the busy season, starting in September, yeah.
Thank you. Danielle, anything else? Jimmy, you have anything?
DTEC, is there something that we need to report on that? I'll let you do that. And then if you would just come back to me when we're done, I just have a request and a proposal to put forward before we're done.
No, just that we were approved money for the rights of way on 3,000 and for, whatever we had requested, they approved. So that was good. Brian?
Nope, I'm good.
Bardell? Nothing. So do we need to adjourn from this meeting to go into the other meeting? Yes. Jimmy, do you want to make your comment before we do that?
If you prefer, I can make it after we're done.
You can do it now.
Okay, so just bear with me for a minute, because this is something that's near and dear to me and to many people in the community, and it's come up several times. We're embroiled in this divisive issue of the name Dixie at Dixie State University. And I've thought long and hard about this, and I know we've all agreed to a resolution that we support the name Dixie and what it means to our community, that it means community, and all those things that are near and dear. And one thing that former Councilwoman Betty Ariel taught me very many times is that we have a tendency here in southern Utah to be very giving in our ideas and saying, hey, if this is making somebody uncomfortable, we want to change it. However, she also taught me that we don't have to be like everyone else, and that it's okay to be unique. And if we lose our heritage and our history and what makes us unique, we'll become nothing more than another Western city with sprawling growth. And that there are reasons besides our environment and our natural beauty that people move here. And former Mayor Pike used to talk about it all the time, the Dixie spirit. A lot of people have taken us to task. We just got taken to task again last night at a community forum about this name change and what we have done. Now, there's some people at Dixie State that I have a deep amount of respect for, and I respect their position, and I will never talk ill of them. But at some point, I've tried to determine what it is that we can do to show our support, and I think the resolution was one way. And when Jordan Sharp made an effort to actually name after the vote to change the name to whatever, Dixie Polytechnic, which, by the way, is the name that they wanted if a change was going to come. Michelle and I had the opportunity to meet with them and express our concerns, and we were told that there was no name change coming. So it was a little a shock when that happened. However, as I listened to Jordan Sharp try to make a motion to name the campus Dixie Campus, an idea came to me of what we can do as a city. We've already renamed 700 East University Boulevard. And I would like to propose and start the ball rolling that we name that street Dixie State University Boulevard as a way to pay tribute to our heritage and not forget where we came from, and to bring the community together on a divisive issue. I'm willing to pay for or raise the money to change those signs. And so I would love your support in doing that and do what we need to do to make that happen in the near future, where time is of the essence with the things happening. We do need to send a message of solidarity to the other elected officials across the state about our values here in southern Utah. We are Utah's Dixie, and it means something different. And it's a great way to explain what it means and to explain the community spirit that we have here. So with that, I don't want to make a big deal of it. I purposely didn't float that to any of you because I wanted to be open and transparent, and it's something I hope we can talk about in our next meeting. So thank you.
Thanks, Jimmy. So now we go out of the...
So you can do a motion to adjourn from your regular meeting and then a motion to convene the neighborhood.
So moved.
Motion by Jimmy, seconded by Brian. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, now do we need a motion? No. We're good, right? Okay. D.
Okay, so the first item on the agenda is adjustments to the current fiscal year 2021 budget. We only have one adjustment. You'll be happy about that. It is for Fort Pierce EDA number 1, and that is essentially that our taxes are coming in a little bit higher than where we had budgeted them, and for $11,000. And so we're just asking for approval to increase the revenues budget, and then there's some other entries there to balance that budget opening request.
With that, I'll open the public hearing for anybody who has come to comment on the amendments to the fiscal year 2020-2021 budget. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and come back to you, Council.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution to review and approve the amendments to the fiscal year 2020-2021 budget.
Second.
Motion by Jimmy, seconded by Danielle. All in favor, start.
Brian.
Oh my gosh. Motion by Brian. I just can't get your name tonight. Sorry. Seconded by Danielle. All in favor, starting with Bardell.
Aye.
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 Okay, so the second item is to approve the RDA budget for the fiscal year 2021-2022 budget. And just as a general overview of that, the RDA budget includes all of our economic development area and community development area districts. That would be in the Fort Pierce area, the Dixie Center area, the Mill Creek industrial area, and then this year, or fiscal year 2022, we will be invoking the Central Business District area, which is the downtown area. It includes City View and Jewel Plaza. And so there's essentially 6 active districts within the RDA, under the umbrella of the RDA. The total budget that we are recommending for next year is $3,616,000.23. And this is actually included in our overall budget document, just right at the very end. And that's all I have. If council has any questions of me.
Any questions for Dee? If not, I will open the public hearing for any input on the 2021-2022 budget for the St. George Neighborhood Redevelopment Agency. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and come back to you, council, for a motion.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we adopt a resolution for fiscal year 2021-2022 budget for the St. George Neighborhood Redevelopment Agency.
Second.
Motion by Vardell, seconded by Danielle. All in favor, starting with Danielle.
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Now I need a motion for the minutes from the meetings held on April 15th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Jimmy, seconded by Danielle. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. And now need a motion to adjourn from the Neighborhood Redevelopment Agency and City Council? Okay.
All right, so moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.